Good afternoon. I'm so glad you guys have come to join us today on Wellness Gathering. We're taking ownership of our well-being through the principles of the core alignment. And today we've got a very interesting conversation lined up. Where's my paper here? R for Rapture. Okay, Lynn, you take it away.
Awesome. Well, welcome. Thank you for coming and sharing this time. So we're going to start with a question because we always start with a question that anyone, anywhere, anytime can answer. And so the question for today is, so you're going to say your name, say where you are, and the question is, what is something that you easily lose track of time doing? And my name is Lynn, and I am in Calgary, Alberta. And something that I easily lose track of time doing. Well, I lose track of time just being at home. I work from home now, and I do go out a little bit, but I can lose track of time in my home, either putting stuff away, cleaning, cooking, doing all kinds of stuff, just kind of like a fly buzzing around the house. And I can, if I'm in my rapture, I can do that for a long time without noticing. It's like, oh, if it wasn't for my schedule, I wouldn't, I could easily just be buzzing around. So, Lorraine?
Okay, I'm Lorraine. I'm in British Columbia, Osoyoos, nice overcast, cool day. And something that I can lose time in doing, well, that's very
Something
easy.
that you lose track of
Time.
time doing.
Well, I easily lose track of time when I'm engrossed in I listen to a lot of podcasts and interviews. And if you ever link up with Jordan Peterson, and he's a philosopher, psychologist. Oh my God, I mean, it's like an hour and a half goes by, and I mean, I'm trying to decipher what they say when he's, ranting or talking. I find it so fascinating, and I all of a sudden, oh, it'll be an hour and a half at this interview, and then I go on to something else, and it's another hour and a half. So that's what I lose track of time. And when you're at home and you're semi-retired and you don't really have a schedule or clients coming knocking on your doors, the day goes by.
Olive?
My name's Olive. I'm in Saskatoon, Saskatchewan. I can lose track of time reading a good novel.
Awesome. How about you, Madeline?
I'm Madeline. I'm in Calgary, Alberta, and I'm with you, Olive. I can lose track of time easily reading almost anything. So I just cherish the days and the times and the groups of, moments where I can pick up something and just get lost in it.
Oh, nice. I thought that question would go well with our conversation today. And it's interesting because with these conversations, we're talking about different things that help us take more ownership for our health and our wellness. And we have been focusing on different words and how they affect our taking more ownership for ourselves and what make us feel good and how we care for ourselves. And so here we are at the R, and we've picked the word rapture. And I think it goes well with what we like to lose track of time doing. And so what do you think, if you think of that rapture, because rapture has to do a lot with just being in our own pleasure and being in our own interest and following the energy, as you might say. So maybe let's just go around and share some times where we found that we were just easily following our own rapture as we were moving through life. Madeline, would you like to go through first?
Sure. So thinking of times in my life where I have followed, well, certainly followed my energy, um, I can happily say that more times than not, I just do things that I feel good about, um, or that I want to pursue, or what kind of lands in front of me and I go, oh, that seems like a really good idea. So rather than it be, I don't know, preordained stuff, things that people have told me I should do, that hasn't been a big part of my life. There's not been a lot of outside direction. So I can safely say that I have been sort of the driving force and followed my own raptures.
Nice. How about you, Olive?
I can honestly say that I have never used the word rapture in a sentence in my life. So this,
Okay, cool.
this, this is an odd word for me to try and get my head around. When I think of rapture, I think of people in a cult who are waiting to be beamed up on a spaceship. Um, I'm hoping that you can give me some grounded.
Well, tell us a time in your life where you were turned on by something, that you followed that instinct and just followed that rapture, that it just took you. There must have been
I would say
something.
the closest I've come to a rapture moment would be music. I've been listening to a new group or a new singer, and I go, hey, I really like that music. I'm going to follow that person or that group. That
Cool.
totally
Very cool.
Come
Very
close.
cool. How about you, Lorraine?
Oh, yeah, I'm like you, Olive. I don't think you really don't think of when you go through life and you get inspired by something that you relate it to the being in rapture, or you're feeling that rapture. And the question is, what time in my life that I would maybe inspired? But I think just now recently I have been in that feeling of inspiration, because with circumstances out there in the general pop world, that where I'm sitting today and what I'm involved with and what my interests are is giving me a real inspiration, and I'm very pleased that I'm not worried. I'm not in that state of anxiety. I like to contribute to people's lives in a positive way, and that is just inspirational. And of course, I think the moments that I get maybe raptured is probably about 4 o'clock in the morning, when I think of something that I really want to get involved with during the day.
It's interesting because that word, it's like rapture, but there must be the word in rapture, like, and I'm not sure of that. We could probably explore
I'll
that.
look it up.
But but I'm gonna go with that similar thing. There was a time in my life where I was it kind of goes along with a little bit of inspiration, but in my mid-20s, I was dumbfounded by another person that I met in life that was doing Ironman, like doing Ironman Canada, like it's a long race, a very long triathlon. And it just absolutely blew my mind that he conceived of doing this thing, and he was sharing it with me. And I thought, I was so enraptured, or like just taken by it. It's like, I'm going to do that. And I don't know where it came from, whether it wasn't like I need to do what he's doing. It was just like, it caught something in me, and it took, like, it was my livelihood all the way through my 20s until I met my husband. And it started like a 5-year journey or more. I started out with short races, and I went to the long one. I figured I needed to do each one of those distances by themselves before I could do the whole thing. and I was in rapture, like, and I was in my own pleasure, and it was fulfilling my body. It was helping me become more fit. I was learning about nutrition. I was moving, you know, it just taught me so many things. It taught me how to swim better. It taught me how to cycle better, and it taught me how to run, which are, to me, kind of sort of three things in life that are kind of basic movements. And so that's what comes to mind when I think of a time in my life where I was enraptured. I'm going to say enraptured. That's why I'm not sure if it is. Is it enraptured?
Well, it is enraptured, exactly, to fill with delight.
To fill with the delight. So I was.
So that is, yeah, that
so it's
is.
very interesting.
It's actually a verb. So rapture is the noun.
Yes.
Enrapture is the verb. So yeah, there you go.
Yeah. So it's interesting to see how rapture and being enraptured, how it relates to the things that we're inspired to do that guide us along in our lives to where we're going, right? And you know, be it family or work or career or anything else. So I guess that's would be the next question, is what kinds of things do you think being enraptured by really, how they really serve you in your life? Like, how does that concept really serve you in your life, and how has it served you, and how would you like it to serve you? So let's, Madeline.
Sorry, that was my dog going crazy, so I've managed to close the door. I apologize. So how has it served? Well, I, at a very young age, young teen, became totally enthralled in theater and had a wonderful opportunity. And over the course of all of my young teen years, would, you know, work at this theater. It was a summer place, and I was enraptured. It was, I just couldn't wait for it to come again every summer, and then went beyond all of that experience, and, you know, went to school and learned that what I had learned through all of my young teen years was actually doing it the right way. I, you know, I just needed somebody exterior to tell me that yes, what I had learned was useful and proper. And so that, it was just this, all of a sudden needed to do it. And I think that, you know, was me jumping off into the world of just follow your instincts, just follow your energies, just be, you know, just be encapsulated with what you love, and just know it's the right thing. And so, you know, I feel kind of sorry for people who haven't found that thing in their lives that they've, you know, and it can be anything. But anyway, that is, and it served me really well because it gave me something to be very enthusiastic about through a big portion of my life. And I took it to the nth degree of where I could take it. So I don't know, I think living your life wanting that is probably a really, really good thing.
Awesome. How about you, Olive?
I think I'm one of those people that's never been enraptured by anything. I just kind of have gone through life on a level plane. I never get too high, I never get too low. I can't really think of anything that's enraptured me. So maybe that's what I should be looking for.
Got it. Lorraine?
Yeah, it's interesting to hear you, Lynn and Madeline, talk about their 20s and having that feeling of a rapture at that age. I think that's so powerful, and that you were doing it, you know, interested in really doing something that you really, really like. And I'm like you, Olive. I just sort of went through life well,
Flatlining.
and it's just lately in the last maybe 20, 15 years that I feel excited about something. I think I've been feeling excited about since I've written my autobiography and told my story. And that sort of kind of brought what I did in the past into the present and validated even the things that as I was going through life like this, it really has made who I am today. So I guess that recognition of that would be a raptured event, just doing that validation of writing your story. And fine, hell, it wasn't that bad. Although we're looking back at the time, I wasn't enraptured with anything I did, except maybe kissing a boy or something.
Well, I mean, that does go into some of it, right? The ecstasy and the bliss and the euphoria and elation, all the words that go along with rapture.
Yeah.
And it does bring up that kind of that kind of energy of being enthralled, or what, and it, to me, it brings up that time of life where, sort of puberty, right? Like probably, 13 up, right? Where it's everything is just like brand, at least, it appeared to be like, whoa, there's something going on here that I'm not really sure about, but I'm going to have to just follow it. And, with varying results and experiences, and maybe sometimes not so good and sometimes really good. So, well, let's just step into looking at some of the principles of core alignment, because one of the core principles of Kate's work is to, look at where we're at right now, look back at the past, gather what we see from the past, and see where we are now, and create the future based on how our past supports our present. So how do you see yourself in the present right now as you're moving, as your past is supporting you? Olive?
I guess being a middle of the road, not too high, not too low person has served me well. I'm the type of person that walks out of a room if an intense political discussion starts. I guess I will continue to try and be middle of the road.
Right?
Yeah, I think it's quite true. I mean, there's lots of subjects that I'm interested in, but if it ever became into a debate or a discussion, a deep discussion, it's hard to express myself with my ideas of what I really want to say. So how it serves me, my past, well, as I just said about even validating or my writing my story has helped me put myself in a place now that for the next 20 years of my life, I'm going to be doing something that I feel really good about. And I think it does, you do reflect on all those relationships that you have in the past, and it makes you a stronger person. It makes me a stronger person. And I'm very grateful for that. So.
Thank you. Madeline?
Just say the question again. Sorry.
Well, looking at how where you are now and how your past supports you where you're now, and how it's supporting your futures moving forward with this idea of being, a feeling of intense pleasure or joy, or being enraptured by what you're doing. Or
I think the most prominent aspect of reflecting on my past and seeing how it molds my future is the being more sure of that I'm, in this place, that I've created it, that I've brought about all the things that are in my present time and space and energy and knowledge of what I've been through, to then say, really anything is possible for the future, because I've, handled myself quite well through a lot of transitions. And I think that knowledge has, although it's not always the blissful stuff, it is the intensity perhaps of the down stuff, right? Like the stuff that isn't as, one would say, rapturous, whatever the word is, that it's, that I can sustain myself throughout whatever the ups and downs might be. So I think that's looking back and knowing that if I want something really, really badly, I can create it. Sometimes it's just knowing what I want to create.
Well, yeah, when I think about the question that comes up for me is, what qualities do I want to bring forward from the past that have that add to that sense of living the life, giving my life the fullest, giving myself to the fullest. And it's like I'm hearing from you, Madeline, and Olive and Lorraine, both, that it's like we want to contribute and be of, like, make a difference to other people. And so what kind of qualities would you say that you are carrying forward now that are supporting you? Lorraine?
Well, I think the fact that I'm still able to think clearly, and I can analyze things, and I can kind of put them in a perspective, and curiosity too. I think I'm curious about other perspectives of things and how it in line. And I think I'm grateful that as I get older, that I'm still able to really engage myself in some deep philosophy subjects. And it was and it's interesting how other people's, when they're recognized that there's something that they've come across that they're excited about, it fits into what I'm excited about, although it's two different subjects, but it's the intention and the philosophy behind it and the creativity of it all. I think that being creative is really gives you that sense of being in a raptured state.
Olive?
You run that question by me again.
What qualities, when you look back at the past, what qualities would you really like to bring forward that have served you in the things that have had your attention and helped you create the life that you've had so far, and kept, there's something that's kept you raptured in the life that you've created?
I guess the ability to kind of assess a situation and not get too excited about it one way or another. Be able to see both sides of a discussion and express an opinion, but not get too worked up about the conclusion.
Madeline?
Well, I think curiosity. I think Lorraine talked about curiosity and imagination. I think those are good, and just engaging in life. Like those are all things that I've been excited to do in the past, and am, kind of, I know that they all aid my future in terms of keeping me on top of things and interested in things, and that ability to stay interested and wanting to listen and be curious, I think are all good points of being a
Right.
well-rounded person.
Yeah, the curiosity and the engagement and the being able to hear both sides and then still stay kind of centered or calm or
Mhm.
yeah, those are things that I think those are some of the things that are sort of foundational. We're always moving forward, things are always changing, things are always being created. So, we're off. I think we're all in rapture all the time, whether we're consciously aware of it or not. We're in life, and life is continuing to move and grow. It's like seeing the weed push through the concrete.
Mhm.
Plants just keep growing. They'll, if you leave a garden untended, it goes run amok, right? So, so what will you take with you from this conversation that will support you until we talk again? Madeline?
What I will take with me from this conversation that will support me until we talk again. Well, looking at rapture, it's not a word that comes up, as we've all said. It's not a word that comes up in regular vocabulary, and yet it identifies a lot of what our passions are, and or not identifies, but like in alignment with all our passions, and that's a pretty interesting concept, right? To keep our passions in the forefront.
Olive?
I will take away from today's conversation that I respect um, I respect the enrapturement that other people experience, and I don't feel that I have to equal that.
Thank you. Lorraine?
What I'll take away from this conversation, they, yeah, I had an interesting thought. I think just being satisfied that, I had that I have, when I get up in the morning, I have a set plan. I'm going to do something and feeling good that I'm doing. There are days that I get up and I just don't feel motivated at all. And the other day I sat, well, maybe it was Sunday, and I sat and absolutely did nothing. And no, it was Saturday. Sunday there was football games, so I was raptured with that. So, but it was just nothing. I wasn't even motivated to even eat or drink. It was just like I had one of these days that I felt like I just didn't want to do anything. But I think the fact that I get excited and I feel that sense of pleasure and rapture when I have something definitely planned, some little project, and I work better in the morning to get it done and completed and put it together. The rest of the day I kind of coast, but it's that getting up early in the morning and getting on with what I feel that I need to do. So,
Well, what I take away from today is that some of these concepts are very challenging to even consider, and taking a word like rapture or enraptured has had a very broad scope of perspective. And what I take is that it's kind of where my attention goes, and that I get enraptured, and that with us getting together and having these conversations, there's a flow that has been sort of a thread through these conversations, and I feel like that's the rapture. It's like the energy wants to move, and we gather all this information and we go to places that are kind of like unknown and kind of we're curious. We don't know what's going to come up, and so I kind of take away a little bit of that mystery that maybe Rapture has. So what will you take with you that'll support you for the rest of your life, Lorraine?
Okay, I think just what I said, well, from this conversation for today is just continue on my path of doing what I'm doing, and feeling excited about it, and feeling that I'm doing the best I can.
Paula?
I will take that rapture means something different for everybody, and to look for the excitement in life. That's what I'll take.
Thank you. Madeline?
What I will take with me for the rest of my life is the remembering that we do create, just like Olive said, we create all this for ourselves, and it's our own perspective that's important, not anybody else's.
Yes, what I will take with me that'll support me for the rest of my life. Well, what'll support me is that some of these words really have a very long history. You know, like I was looking at this medieval Latin history of this word and going, you know, some of these words are very eloquent and probably have been used in more scripture type texts like Shakespeare or something, but I kind of take away sort of that the elegance and the magical expression of words like that. And I think it's fun that'll support me, because it's fun to just kind of stretch my mind into some other concept rather than the simple language that I'm always using. So that's what I will take. And so thank you for joining us in these amazing conversations as we stretch what it means to take more ownership for our health and wellness.
Okay, thank you very much, Lynn and Madeline and Olive, and for participating. It's very exciting. So next week we're going to be continuing on with another word with S for steadfast. So we'll see you next week.